to get to a few more calls, but I promised to hit some more of this news. I'll cover it more in detail tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central. But yes, we've had a chance to see the trailer for the video game where North Korea attacks South Korea, World War III in the Middle East with Iran, foreign troops invade the U.S. The foreign troops don't need to invade the U.S. I've been in urban warfare drills, and we just got footage a few weeks ago. It's up on prisonplanet.tv in a report where they let my camera guys tape foreign troops training to put Americans in the sports stadium, gun confiscation. NLE 09 had these drills. They've signed deals with Mexico and Canada to, quote, police the United States during emergencies. U.S. troops were used at the Olympics in Canada. This is part of just everybody being acclimated. We saw incredible Fox News reports this week that we posted up on the websites where they said, National Guards took and helped in 2,000 arrests in New York State. It's so good. And they're also helping sweep for guns. Just, that's martial law. So, yes, Kevin, that's very interesting. Real fast, what's your take on it?
Well, it seems like it's just another form of desensitizing our youth, just like the false wars in the Middle East and everything, desensitizing our soldiers and whatnot. But if I could move on to my second question, do you know if Kennedy's Executive Order 1110 is still valid? And if I could end with a statement about going back to the NWO and everything, one would only have to look back to an SPP meeting in Waco, Texas, March 23rd, 2005, between then-President George W. Bush and Mexico's...
Secret treaty was signed. That's mainstream news.
Yeah.
No, it's high treason. I appreciate your call. But, yes, they rescinded that executive order to start issuing greenbacks, Lincoln greenbacks to be specific, because that was never rescinded. So Kennedy, with an executive order, could say we're going to start issuing our own money that's not debt-based to these private banks. Okay, before I try to hit a few more calls, we're in limited time here, let me just hit a few headlines here. This is Steve Watson, prisonplanet.com, but we have links to all the mainstream news where they report this. Academics, politicians, pending global treaty threatens free internet fundamental rights. Over 90 academics, practitioners, public interest organizations in 6 continents have collectively warned that a secretive global treaty, and the text came out a few months ago, currently being negotiated by governments of the world's largest economies, would see tight controls placed on internet and would threaten other fundamental rights and freedoms. And what have you heard the Senate bills announce? What have you heard the FCC announce? I mean, open restrictions where you're not allowed to have free speech. You've got to be licensed. You've got to, quote, show other sides. Government browsers pop up on your website giving their propaganda. Very important. Here's another one. Google accused of U.S. snooping, BBC, spying on congressmen. Well, Google is NSA. Google to resume Street View photography, and it turns out they're using digital recording systems to grab all your wireless traffic and analyze it. I mean, that's wiretapping. That's totally illegal. They're doing that. Australia's saying they broke the law, but nothing's being done. Facebook's Mark Zuckerman, who called I can't quote it, it was a cuss word, but he called them a bunch of bleeping, idiots, thinking that they can trust him, says people don't want complete privacy online. Really? So that's just some of the news we have on that front with the attack on free speech. Here is the most important thing I've got today, and I probably should have started the show with this, but again, I'm going to cover it more tomorrow. This is the Associated Press. Obama spokesman says Democrats could lose House. President Obama's chief spokesman said it's possible Democrats could lose their majority in the House this fall. Press Secretary Gibbs said and may even lose the Senate. Now, here's Politico quoting The Nation Thursday in an article saying that they have completely failed, but they say, face it, we will be able to take over using the process of incrementalism. Incredible article titled, Liberals Analyze Their Obama Despair. And let me just read this. 2 recent essays frame the debate raging within the progressive community, that means the communist, over why the promise of Obama's candidacy has not lived up to their expectations. Well, you got your health care. Now you learn it raises taxes, cuts benefits. I mean, you're a bunch of idiots. And how liberals should proceed in what they fear will be difficult months ahead. The 17,000-plus word piece published in The Nation on Thursday, journalist Eric Alterman calls the Obama presidency a big disappointment for progressives and blames a broken system on Washington that he believes allows the majority Minority party to rule with impunity. Oh, give me a break. The Republicans are pushing the same thing. Face it, he concludes, the system is rigged. But writing for Democracy, a journal of ideas, editor Michael Tomsky concludes patience, arguing that American history has shown that change always takes time and continued effort against entrenched conservative opposition. It's not liberal to bankrupt everything so banks that create fiat currency take over your society. And he says the change we won't see in 18 months or 2 years or 4 or probably even 8, he concludes in his article. Here's another one, Wall Street Journal. Pelosi, the Obama-Pelosi lame duck strategy. The House is gone, they said. He thinks Democrats will hold the Senate, but with a significantly reduced number. And it goes on to say that because of this, they are going to race to get all of their agenda through in the next 3 months. So this is a key time that we're in right now. But look, here's the deal. This is how the WWF scam works. It's just like Jesse Ventura and Andre the Giant. They're both buddies. They're going to go drink beer after the event. And Jesse's used this analogy here on the show. But they all work for the same company. They're not really fighting. It's staged. If you body slam somebody like that, it'd break their back. If you pile drive somebody's head, it'd break their neck. It's not real, okay? I know that's a conspiracy theory that wrestling isn't real, but it's true. It's admitted. Just like it's not a conspiracy theory the Federal Reserve is private, okay? Wrestling's not real. The Federal Reserve is private. Aspartame causes brain damage, so does sodium fluoride. It's just a fact. Check it out for yourself. But I digress. They tag team us, Republicans and Democrats. Republicans get into office, things don't change, things get worse, more tyranny, more big government. Democrats get in. People are mad at Bush, Obama comes in. They get mad at Obama, Republicans come in. But here's the difference. This is not where one party or the other is in favor and they keep fooling us with this double teaming. For the first time in modern U.S. history, in over 100 years, I've been pointing this out for a year and a half, but now the analysts are even admitting it in mainstream news. Every incumbent, every pro-establishment candidate, whether they be Democrat or Republican, is losing in primaries and losing in special elections. Every one of them. Whether it's Specter, it doesn't matter. They're all losing. And the system knows that. So they're really pulling out all the stops. They're going to start a war with Iran as a diversion. They're bankrupting the economy. They admit we're going into a depression now. I've got a stack of news here with Greenspan and others saying that. But they're offering, giving the same banks that engineered this more power to fix it when they're the ones that engineered it. They create the crisis, offer the solution that makes the crisis worse. Then they offer a solution that gives them more power. Then it only makes it worse. Big government, period, is the tool they use to implement this. And so everyone has to ask themselves now, we're at a historic crossroads. The whole history of the world is building towards this point with the technological developments, with the police state developments, with the population developments, with everything coming to this key juncture. And that's why people have to be focused on real issues, not the World Cup, not LeBron James, not Lindsay Lohan, not what's happening with Mel Gibson. You've got to be focused on what's happening with taxes, what's happening with the dollar, what's happening with wars. Because right now, world government is openly being announced. The end of the dollar is openly being trumpeted. But at the same time, the globalists are about to complete their world government, but people are waking up to it and their system is in trouble. Everything you do now, in the next few months and the next few years, is going to determine, to a great extent, the future course of human society. Stalin talked about it, Bernays talked about it, other tyrants talked about it, how there are times in history when more happens in a year than happened in the previous 50. We are entering a quickening where more is going to happen every month than happened in the previous decade. And it's only going to get more and more intense as the days and weeks and months and years lead on. And so you've got to have a crash course in geopolitics. You've got to get a crash course in the ruling elite, the ruling class, the ruling parasites. You've got to get involved now. And you've got to stop seeing yourself as a passive spectator who just sits back and goes along with whatever the mainstream media tells you. And the mainstream media knows you're waking up. That's why they're rushing in all over the world simultaneously with global treaties to shut down free speech on a planetary scale. Because these crooks have passed the point of no return. They've gone for broke. They've put everything in. It's like a poker game at the end where every side puts in their full pot on the table. All the chips are out there right now on this next hand of cards. And if we lose this hand, it's going to be really hard to stop this scientific dictatorship that tracks and traces and controls and poisons your food, your water, your air to control you. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, forget about whining about, oh my gosh, the illegal aliens don't control the borders, or oh my God, we're talking about World War III. We're talking about your water and food being poisoned. You're being sterilized. This is now admitted. We're talking about incredible issues, and we've got to make that the main focus.